Firefighters worked through the night battling a fire at a Valley storage facility, and while the building is secured to protect people's personal possessions, that factor became the challenge to get the flames under control.
Yeah, tenants are also expressing their frustration toward management. One family says they did nothing to let them know what was happening to their belongings. Danny Maston has that story.
She smelled a fire this morning and texted her neighbor, "What's the fire smell I'm smelling?" The neighbor's like, "I think I saw on the news a storage unit is burning on Durango." She was like, "Oh shoot, I have a storage on Durango."
A morning of stress and uncertainty after Stacy Houston's family was alerted their storage unit near Durango and Flamingo was on fire.
We were really praying and hoping that maybe just one or two units were affected. Hopefully we had our sentimental valuables were set aside, but nope, they said pretty much everything.
Firefighters told her because of the unique nature of the fire to expect a complete loss.
They basically said all the units are affected. They went storage unit to storage unit, breaking through. The fire was moving faster than they were.
Being the fact that it's a storage facility, everything's locked up tight for the night, so every door they had to go through, they had to force, which resulted in some significant delay trying to access the fire.
On top of the challenges firefighters faced, Houston says there was no sense of urgency from management to let them know their possessions were burning.
My mother-in-law did not receive any call, and neither did the other person on the storage. We have two family members on the storage unit to call for emergencies. No one received a call.
Firefighters fought the flames through the late hours of Thursday morning and at one point had 75 personnel on the scene. This as the Houston family could only stand by and wait to find out the extent of their loss. Items they say were precious to the entire family.
Handmade baby cribs. We have twins that are 3. My sister-in-law is finally expecting, so we were going to, give all that to the new baby. My other sister-in-law, her father passed away, and she has items from him in that storage unit. It's all sentimental stuff, nothing of high monetary value, Christmas, but yeah, it's pretty sad.
I'm Danny Maston, Fox 5 News, local, Las Vegas.
Now, we did reach out to the building's management about its policy for alerting tenants as well as what type of protection is covered in their contract agreement, but so far we have not heard back.